Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 10 American destroyer gearing. She has 6 127mm guns, 10 torpedoes, 52 AA defense rating, a surface detect of 5.9 kilometers, top speed 37.8 knots, total health 19,400. For my modules, reduced crit chance on main armament, improved aiming systems, faster torpedo rearm, lower chance of flood and fire, acceleration, concealment. For my commander, situation awareness, basic firing training, last stand, superintendent, advanced firing training, and concealment again. We are on the map Islands of Ice, and yeah, this is not Islands of Ice, Notser. You're crazy. It looks completely different. The only thing they have in common is there's ice on the map. You're correct. Unfortunately, or fortunately for some people, this is what we get. They threw out the other map, and we've got a 3 cap point, center aligned, and we'll see how it works out. Now, just to keep people up to date, 0.5.7 came out, main armament protection module, that's basically the main battery and the torpedo protection from crit, all wrapped into one. The aiming systems is the dispersion combined with the faster torpedo aiming, so it should rotate a little bit quicker, easier to hit your target in a very stressful, tense situation. I chose to swap out both the rudder shift and the rate of fire because I felt like the torpedo rearm is a better choice, especially if you're trying to get damage. Gun systems are great, radar is prevalent, you can't always rely on sitting in smoke and firing. Torpedoes are your bread and butter. However, unlike the Japanese destroyer line, we actually have guns, so we can kill things very quickly if we're given an opportunity. And of course, the acceleration is much better. It's just made for destroyers now. You boost up quickly if you've dropped below 6 knots. The speed itself is just a little bit better, and I wanted to test it out. I only gained, half a second? Maybe a second for the rudder shift module. That's really not a lot when you consider it's 2.7 seconds right now. And we sent out our torpedoes against the Ibuki. And we hit. We also got a flood, so that will force out damage control. I choose to use my smoke, and I choose to engage him. Obviously, the Ibuki lacks the ability to equip a radar module, so we're just going to abuse the crap out of it. There we go. Okay, a fire on a target that cannot protect himself. That'll be, well, never mind. He's actually dead. He sent out torpedoes, it looks like, and they're not going to hit us, thankfully. But you notice the capture area, it's not moving at all. Yes, there is an enemy destroyer, and you see the smoke. It's in between 2 islands that are just to the northwest of B, and I would like nothing more than to see that destroyer burn and sink to the bottom of the ocean. Now, at the beginning of the match, you might not have caught on to what exactly went down. My destroyer was the most southern, and I decided, hey, let's go for C. The friendly destroyer that spawned relatively in the center can go for B. Well, no, because this Kagero decided, I'm not strong enough to go on my own. I need someone. I'm going to follow you, Notser. And I was like, okay, well, we're not going to go for A and C. That's a terrible strategy and leave B wide open. So we pulled an audible. We headed for B so we could have A and B next to each other. It's just a better strategy. And quite honestly, it's the only strategy when you have someone who is escorting you. Not that I need it, but that's okay. We're alive. They're not. We actually took out an Ibuki, and oh, whoa. Why is there a destroyer that far in? There are 2 destroyers that are wrapping around the friendly Kagero. While this ambush is going down, I sent my torpedoes against the North Carolina. I felt like I had a better shot of hitting that target versus the Yamato. He was making a little bit of a juke and a jive. He was just looking to slow down, speed up. I don't know. But this North Carolina, he doesn't really appear to fully understand exactly what's going on. So we sent, and it looks pretty good. We're going to hit at least 1 or 2, but I have to try and protect the friendly Kagero. And yes, we hit 3 torpedoes, caused a flood. But of course he's going to put out the flood, right? Why would you let the flood stick? The enemy destroyer lost out his propulsion. It's not ideal for him. And we're trying to walk in. Remember, the American destroyer has a disadvantage slightly on the velocity of the shell, but if you have a pretty good idea of where the shell is going, plus an extremely high rate of fire, it's pretty easy to just cover the air and the sea in shells. And I do a quick check. It's always good to know where the enemy destroyers are, the enemy battleships, you name it, they can get you, and we lose the friendly. But oh, whoa, now we're working down a lot of damage rapidly, and we take him out before he can even react. Now, he might have sent torpedoes, but I doubt it. I think he sent his torpedoes going after the friendly. Obviously, they're both dead, so it's irrelevant. Now I need to try and capture B or prevent that destroyer, and there is another destroyer in the area from capturing it. Now, we lose our detection just in time. That enemy battleship, Yamato. Yeah, of course he's going to fire on me. Please don't hurt me that much. Oh! I don't even know if that shell hit the ship. It just had such a large explosion that it took out some modules, and I don't want to have them out, so I choose to fix it. I'm not going to fire my gun. There is no way I'm firing my gun. I am going to try and capture the point before an enemy denies the capture. We have a 2-ship advantage. Part of that was from fair trading, and part of that was from catching out easy kills like the Ibuki. The Ibuki just should not have made that play, and I made almost nearly the exact same play, probably a game earlier or after this in the Mogami. I was trying to compensate for the lack of destroyers. I don't know why people don't play destroyers. Why is everyone playing battleships? Yeah, sure, it's cool to see a one-shot, but a destroyer is just gonna be a better pick, especially with all of these battleships. There is, what? There was 6 on the enemy side, and there's 5 on my team. Now, I sent my torpedoes, trying to predict his positioning. He sort of has softened it, maybe gone bow on. I think I'm going to hit him with 1, and it should be on the bow. I do hit him with 1. Does very little damage, doesn't even cause a flood, and oh, enemy Shimakaze shows up. That's a little brave for him. I don't know if he realizes quite how dangerous this is for him. We have probably done 6k damage to him. Yeah. 7k actually. And I'm going to continue this. Every single salvo is about 2300. I am not changing my binocular view at all. I want to try and hit the same shot pattern, the same location in the water, and we have maintained good accuracy, even though the target was invisible. I don't know how much I ended up doing to him, but I think it was significant. 39 shots on a destroyer? That might be just... Oh, it is! Nice! He burned down. That was a lot of damage. We racked up a lot of damage in a short amount of time, and he basically played it as well as he could hope to play it. The worst thing he did was seek me out. Why would you seek out a gearing in a Japanese destroyer? It's like, do you know how easy it is for me to kill you? And I bailed on that. There's no way I'm staying detected by the 2 great big battleships. No. As we are bailing, of course, the enemy Montana is visible. I have advanced firing training, so I have the extra range to invisifire. And I don't want to pull a Notser, okay? I don't want to run into any island. Montana's taken out. We, of course, have huge dominance over A. The important thing is that the destroyers try and maintain control over all aspects of the map, rather than rely on their battleships and their cruisers to do the objective control. It's not a bad thing that they're bunched up so they can focus down a target. It would be bad if the destroyer didn't play up to the potential of the class. You can't play passive. You gotta be upfront, detecting for your team, playing for the objectives, being a real annoyance for the enemy team. I especially feel more annoying with a lower torpedo rearm cycle. It's definitely obvious that 20, 30 seconds off your torpedoes really impacts how aggressive you can go after those big battleships, and that's the meta right now on the NA server. It's probably because they got the most changes. All of the US battleships got buffs in more ways than one, and players want to try and test out the changes. Of course, it makes sense, and I understand that, and there's probably some Japanese battleships that want to counter the US with their great big caliber. And I was committed to going around the island and going after B again. I wasn't going to leave it up to chance, okay? The game's way too close considering how many ships we've killed. And part of that is because they've had C the entire time. They've had B for not a significant amount of time, but probably 50-50. And it's always, I guess it's just built into me. Every patch, we have to play the Gearing, see how well she plays. If she plays really well, I move on and never play her again. Unfortunately, I look for the variety. We're at the point where there's more ships than the days between patches, so there's very low chance that I'm going to make a video with every single ship before the next patch. That's just the way it works. And it's only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. But I will go back to my staples, my high-tier destroyers, my Japanese cruisers. I love those as well. I really enjoy the battleship lines now that I understand how the binoculars work. And speaking of binoculars, you will notice if you didn't watch my preview that they've moved up the time to target, the distance to target. It's much closer to the horizontal line. You also will notice that I have both my torpedoes and my main battery displayed on the screen at the same time. If you go into settings, controls, there's a new setup that suggests having main battery and torpedoes displayed at the same time. So you should consider that if you play a lot of ships that have both. And honestly, I would just consider it, period. It's nice to have all of the intel, not just part of it. And I'm being a little sneaky here. I'm going to get really, really, really close and send my torpedoes, because this particular player, the Yamato, seems to be aware of the threat of destroyers, maybe where they're coming from, how to avoid them. I don't know. I just need to be in a position to send. And it looked like he was backing up, and then he's moving forward. And that's probably the most frustrating aspect of trying to torpedo a great big battleship. If they're basically stationary, it's very unpredictable what they want to do. He does eventually say, you know what, I'm going for that Montana. And the Montana is at a disadvantage. He has only 50% of his guns facing forward, whereas this enemy battleship has 66%. Repeating, of course. And that's important. Our torpedoes, though, hit him right in the nose. There's no belt armor there, my friend. 16,000 versus the 78 that we got before. Plus, it causes a flood. That will force out damage control. Since he's had to use damage control, I'm going to fire in broad daylight. If he chooses to fire on me, great. I will use my acceleration to de-accelerate and try and juke and jive while the Montana has free reign over him. My life is meaningless. It's for the team. And he is locked in on that Montana. He really does want to try and kill it, if at all possible. I don't have any idea his health pool, but we got him pretty close, and you know what? At this point in the game, I'm going, it's a little too convenient how often I'm losing kills. This enemy, Fubuki, I don't know where he was. Where did he come from? I ran around that. Did he just go a really, really wide arc and avoid me rounding the island and then double back? I don't know. But we earned Confederate. We're leading him. We're doing pretty significant damage. He sent us torpedoes. Yes, he did. And yes, he's so dead, right? And not again. The guy has 4 kills, okay? There's no way he's done 4 kills worth of damage. Whatever. You know what? It's all good. We won the game. We played on the new map. You got to see it. I really do think you should try, and I think A and B honestly are the two better because they have that connecting path with a larger island protection. That's at least the initial theory of the map. Don't try and break it up A to C, it's just too big to travel that quickly, but we did pretty good, I'd say. Confederate, 2 kills, 6 torpedo strikes, 131,000 points of damage, 3,540 base XP. Yeah, it felt pretty good. Felt pretty good indeed, and 72 in torpedoes, 53 in high explosive. That's pretty fair. I hope you enjoyed seeing the new Islands of Ice and the new mods. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.